Imagine midnight on a storm-tossed sea, lightning flickers, and your small boat quivers as a distant sonorous roar echoes from below. The ocean holds its breath, and then you feel it. The hull scraping against something massive beneath the waves. A dark shape glimmers under your lights, like a spire of stone or the ruins of a city scoured clean. This is not a nightmare, or perhaps it is. In legends, such scenes herald the return of Atlantis, and right now, the mystery feels alive. Before we lose our heads to speculation, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more mysteries. If your heart just skipped a beat, smash that like button and comment below. We want your wildest theories on what we've just seen. Now, steel yourself as we dive beneath the surface and into the legend of Atlantis. Plato's Atlantis was a paradise-turned cautionary tale. He painted a vivid picture of this mighty island, a kingdom rich with gemstones and fields, with tens of thousands of soldiers in chariots lined up on its shores. Its capital city had concentric rings of water and land, grandly engineered with tunnels wide enough for ships. There were temples of pure gold and statues so immense the sun glinted off them. But as Plato warned, pride and greed grew like a cancer. In one single catastrophic day, earthquakes and floods laid Atlantis to rest. It was, in Plato's words, swallowed by the sea. For centuries, scholars treated Atlantis as pure allegory. Plato even framed the tale as hearsay from Egyptian priests, a storytelling device to lend it credibility. Yet he was oddly specific. He gave an exact timeline, roughly 9600 BC, and even described Atlantean weapons and chariots. Could these details have come from some ancient memory of disaster? Instead of dismissing the whole story, a few researchers ask, what if a real event lies behind the legend? All around the world, archaeologists have found drowned cities that feel like echoes of myth. Consider Atlantis off Israel's coast, rediscovered in 1984. Beneath just 10 meters of Mediterranean water lies a fully preserved Neolithic village dated to around 7000 BC. Divers uncovered stone houses with hearths, grain silos, even the skeletons of villagers who fled with their tools in hand. In the village's center stands something truly eerie, a semicircle of 7 standing stones around a freshwater spring. It's been called a drowned Stonehenge, a shrine where even these Stone Age people appear to have worshipped water. In Greece, scuba teams found Pavlopetri in 1967, the oldest submerged city known on Earth. Just a few meters below the waves of the Laconian Gulf, an entire Bronze Age town lies intact on the seabed. Divers gliding overhead see straight streets laid out on the seafloor, complete with houses, courtyards, temples, and even stone tombs. Imagine an entire town as if waiting to welcome visitors frozen underwater. Legend says Pavlopetri vanished in an earthquake around 1000 BC, but the sea has kept its secrets almost intact. Even Japan has its own mystery. The Yonaguni Monument. Off the coast of Okinawa, divers discovered vast flat terraces and steps 80 feet under the waves. Geologist Masaki Kimura insists it's a man-made sunken pyramid built by humans long ago. Though most scientists say the rock formed naturally, still, every time we dive there the question arises, who built this? And why was it lost to the sea? No conclusive answer has appeared yet. No ocean is free of odd clues. Off Bimini Island in the Bahamas lies the Bimini Road, a curved half-kilometer of flat stone slabs in shallow, clear water. It looks unnervingly like an ancient wall or dock. Early divers gasped, whispering Atlantis. But geologists found it to be natural beach rock. If by chance it had really been an Atlantean harbor wall, it would rewrite everything we know of ancient navigation. Instead, it reminds us how eager we are to see proof of myths beneath the waves. We also find weird shapes on land. Zoom out from satellites and you'll see the Richau structure, Mauritania's Eye of Africa, a 40-kilometer wide bullseye of concentric rings. It's actually just an eroded geological dome. But fringe theorists are entranced. Here's Atlantis' layout on land. They claim, since it matches Plato's description of rings of water and earth, geologists dismiss this. It's just natural rock. Yet looking at that pattern, one can't help picturing Atlantis' legendary canals on a miniature Earth. Strange whispers come from myth and occult lore too. Edgar Cayce, a 20th century American clairvoyant, preached Atlantis like scripture. In trance readings, he insisted that Atlantean knowledge did not vanish. It is hidden beneath the Great Sphinx of Giza. Cayce claimed many of his clients were reincarnated Atlanteans, and that their secrets await in a hall of records under the Sphinx. He even prophesied Atlantis would rise again around 1960, a prediction that obviously failed. Still, Cayce's dramatic claims helped keep the dream of Atlantis alive. his followers still dig near the Sphinx for ancient scrolls that might rewrite history. The myth even once gripped history's darkest chapter. In Nazi Germany, Heinrich Himmler's SS adopted the Atlantis story as ideology. Occult Nazis believed the Aryan race sprang from a white-skinned Atlantean master civilization. They funded Ahnenerbe expeditions across the world. One Nazi researcher argued survivors of Atlantis fled to Tibet, prompting an SS-backed expedition to the Himalayas in 1938. They found Sherpas in monasteries, no Atlanteans. Another Nazi, Edmund Kiss, mapped Bolivian ruins like Tiwanaku and called them Atlantean. These fanatical quests show how Atlantis became more than myth, it was a weapon of pseudo-history. Today, mainstream scientists largely scoff at the idea of a lost continent. Plate tectonics teaches that land masses don't simply disappear. The Atlantic seafloor is a churning rift of new crust. There's no geological sinkhole where a continent once stood. Detailed studies of islands like the Azores or Canary Chain find steady uplift. No sudden submergence has ever been recorded. Geologists point out, if Atlantis had gone down in Plato's time, we'd see dramatic evidence in ocean cores and mountain uplift. According to the evidence, nothing like Atlantis has occurred in the last few million years. And yet, oddly enough, some things match the story's timing. Around 9600 BC, exactly when Plato said Atlantis sank, Earth did experience a global upheaval. As the last ice age ended, the great ice sheet suddenly collapsed and melted, triggering a global pulse of water. Sea levels jumped tens of meters in mere centuries. Within a few human generations, coastlines roared inland, entire river valleys and plains were drowned. Lands equal in size to modern China plus Europe vanished under the waves almost overnight. If any flood deserves the name, this was it. It's easy to imagine survivors of that catastrophe telling stories, perhaps planting the seed of Plato's tale. Some modern theories reach even further. In 1958, Charles Hapgood proposed an abrupt polar shift, a literal Earth crust displacement that carried Atlantis under Antarctica's ice. He imagined a tilt so great that a tropical paradise slid into polar night. Today, geologists unanimously reject this. Our crust doesn't slip like that. But Hapgood's vision reminds us how desperately we'll stretch for explanations when a question remains unanswered. The fantasy of a frozen Atlantis still haunts thrillers and internet forums, even if science says it's nonsense. In 2011, the line between science and sensationalism blurred again. A National Geographic team scanning Spain's Doñana wetlands spotted what looked like a rectilinear structure on satellite images. They excitedly called it Atlantis. A Spanish archaeological team dug in and said, "Hold on, that's just Tartessos, a well-known Bronze Age city that once sat on that marsh." In this case, one man's Atlantis turned out to be another man's ordinary ruin. The lesson? Our tools can show shapes, but interpretation still lives in the human mind. So what do we really have? A mosaic of mysteries. Underwater settlements like Atlat Yam and Pavla Petri remind us that whole cities can sink and be forgotten. Unusual stone formations like Yonaguni or the Bimini Road tease us with patterns that look engineered. Occult tales and conspiracy theories, from Casey's Sphinx chamber to Nazi Atlantis hunts, add spice to the legend. Alone, none of these prove Atlantis. Together, they form a haunting collage as elusive as a mirage on the ocean's surface. Perhaps someday, a genuine Atlantean artifact, a carved tablet with writing matching Plato's names, will wash ashore. Until then, Atlantis remains our collective Rorschach test, a mythic mirror reflecting our own hopes, fears, and wonder about humanity's past. For now, the ocean keeps its secrets. We may never know whether Plato's wondrous island was fact or fable, but part of us will keep gazing out over the waves, searching for something just out of sight, and daring to dream. Hope you enjoyed this dive into history's greatest mystery. What do you think? Did we find clues, or only see our own reflections in the waves? Subscribe for more journeys into the unknown, and share your theory below. Where is Atlantis, really?